Sri Ramasubramanian, who is a great supporter to our channel and also who has been giving very valuable, highly enlightening talks on various topics. And this time he has given a talk about various types of knowledge, perception, and pramanas. His talk is really enlightening and very useful to all our viewers. And we thank you profusely, sir, for all your efforts and a beautiful talk.
Namaskaram. This posting is on knowledge and the source of knowledge. Extremely delighted to be in touch with you with this posting. Every achievements in our life can be categorized into two. One is gaining what we don't have, and second, gaining what we have. I'll explain. Suppose I don't have money, okay, and if I get money, that means gaining what I don't have. It comes under the category 1. Suppose I am wearing a specs and looking for the specs without knowing that I am wearing it, and somebody tells or I get the knowledge that it is already there, then I don't have to do any action. The action becomes redundant there. That is called gaining what we have. Okay. In the first case, that is gaining what we don't have, the gain, if you want to put it as a formula, is equal to knowledge and action. You need to know how to make money and you have to also work, you have to act. Because action has got broadly 4 benefits. What are they? Production. If you want to produce anything, you have to act. Second one is, if you want to attain anything, either you want to reach place or you want to get something to your place, that is called attainment. That the benefit of action. Third one is, if you want to clean anything or you want to add value, you need action. The fourth one is modification. If you want to modify something, you want to convert the raw material into finished goods, you need to act. And destroy, if you want to destroy something, you have to act, but the destroy can come under the modification. Okay. So, in the first case, when you don't have something and if you want to gain that, both action and knowledge is required. But in the second case, you have what you have got already, to gain that, you need only knowledge. In either way, in both the cases, knowledge is required. Action is not required in both the cases. The second case, action is not required. So the knowledge is very, very important. And that's why knowledge is strength. Okay. So we will see that the various sources of knowledge, okay, one after the other. When we talk about knowledge, there are 2 types of knowledge broadly. One is eternal knowledge. We can also call that as an awareness, because of which we know what we know and also we know what we don't know. Our ignorance as well as knowledge is known because of the awareness. That is the eternal knowledge. It is always there. Okay. The second one is acquired knowledge, a created knowledge, a produced knowledge. Okay. Suppose I don't know Chinese, so I produce that knowledge. Okay. So these are the 2 types of knowledge. In the acquired knowledge, what is required is you need a pramana, a source of knowledge, an instrument of knowledge over and above the locus of knowledge. Okay. That is the person to whom the knowledge is required and the object of knowledge and the knowledge. In fact, in the acquired knowledge, there are 4 components. The knowledge, then the locus of knowledge to whom the knowledge is required, and the knowledge, object of knowledge, what you want to know, and the instrument of knowledge. So the instrument of knowledge is known as pramanam. Okay. So we will deal in detail about this sources of knowledge or the instrument of knowledge. Advaita Vedanta talks about or recognizes 6 sources of knowledge. What are they? Direct perception, inference, comparison, verbal testimony, postulation, and non-cognition. These are the 6. We will one by one will take. Now, direct perception. Direct perception means we use our organs of knowledge. We use our ears, eyes, nose, tongue and skin. So whatever the knowledge we gain using these 5 instruments is known as direct perception. There is a perception of 2 types. One is perception of object external to us and second one is internal perception. So that is, the external perception is perception using our organs of knowledge, and internal perception is like how do we feel happy, we feel sad, that is called internal perception. In Sanskrit it is called sakshi pratyaksham. So there are, in perception also we have two things, external perception and internal perception. So the perception is of two types, external perception and internal perception. External perception, example, you are seeing me in the video, you are hearing my voice. So any knowledge you gain using your organs of knowledge, okay, that is external perception. The internal perception example is, suppose you feel thirsty, you feel hungry, okay, this is known to you, okay, which is internal but which is known to you directly. These are all examples of internal perception. Now the second source of knowledge is inference. In direct perception you see things directly, but in inference you see some portion directly, direct perception you have, the other one you infer. The example is, you know, okay, wherever there is smoke there ought to be fire, because you have seen it in Yaga Kunda, right? So you know there is a invariable concomitance between smoke and fire, and using this knowledge you are seeing a mountain where there is smoke, and seeing the smoke you infer there is fire, because you know they have the invariable concomitance relationship. So this is the advantage of inference. There are 5 steps in an inference. Step number 1, that is propositions or hypothesis. In our example, we want to propose or have a hypothesis that there is a fire in the mountain, okay. Then the second one is the reasoning, hetu, we say that. What is the reason? Because there is smoke. Because we know that wherever there is smoke, there ought to be fire, because of the invariable concomitance which we have experienced in places like Yagakunda. The third step is the example, that is the Yagakunda here. So we have seen it in various places. So the Drishtanta, the example is given. The fourth step is reaffirmation. The reaffirmation of what? The fire. So the reaffirmation is the mountain has smoke. The reaffirmation is the mountain has smoke, and the smoke has got invariable concomitance with fire. And the fifth step is conclusion, wherein we conclude, since the mountain has got smoke which has invariable concomitance with fire, the mountain has fire. So these are the 5 steps in all inference. The next source of knowledge is comparison. In comparison, okay, the example given is, a villager wants to know about the animal called Gavaya. What is Gavaya? He wants to know. So he is checking up with a forester, okay, who is trustworthy, who has frequented the forest and seen all the animals. He is asking him what is Gavaya. The forester tells the villager it resembles or it looks like a cow. Okay, with this knowledge, the villager goes to the forest and he sees an animal resembling cow, and he gains the knowledge this is Gavaya. So what are the steps involved in this comparison? First is a knowledge from a trustworthy person that the Gavaya is similar to a cow. The second one is the villager goes and perceives directly the animal resembling the cow. The third one is he remembers the word said by the trustworthy person, the forester, and he gains this knowledge. These are the steps involved in comparison. See, every pramana is mutually exclusive. Okay, so otherwise that would have been redundant. So we have seen 3 pramanas, source of knowledge. One is direct perception, second is inference, third is comparison. Now the fourth one is verbal testimony. The verbal testimony means a statement made by a trustworthy person, okay, which is meaningful statement made by a trustworthy person. So in Shastra, God being the most trustworthy person, okay, the Shastram is said to be the words of the God, okay. So this is very, very important pramana. Why it is very important? Because this pramana is useful to know about the invisible things like punya, papa. Somebody is having good time in this birth, so we say that he might have done some punya in the past janmas. Or somebody is having bad time, we say that he might have done some papa karma in the earlier birth. So these are all, we need some pramana for this. What is the source of this knowledge? The source of this knowledge is Shastra. So especially the Purva Mimamsa talks about this, okay, and the Shastra Pramana and the Uttara Mimamsa, that is the Upanishad, talks about our true nature, okay. The true nature is talked about the Upanishad, okay, through Mahavakyas. So these pramanas are mutually exclusive, like our organs of knowledge. What eyes they do, the ears cannot do. If we cannot see using our ears, we cannot hear using our eyes. So these pramanas are mutually exclusive. That's why it's very, very important to know all the pramanas. So till now, we have seen four sources of knowledge. One is direct perception, second is inference, third is comparison, fourth is verbal testimony. So these are by and large accepted by most of the schools of philosophy, darshanas, okay. And this Arthapati is very few. Advaita, Vedanta and Prabhakara only they accept. Mimamsa only accept this pramana. What is this presumption or postulation? When you see something or hear something, meaning you are getting a direct perception, and whatever you are seeing or hearing does not make sense. So if you want to make sense, you need to make some presumptions, some postulations, for which this pramana is used. I'll give an example, you will understand. They normally give the example is Devadatta is a person, he doesn't eat at all in the daytime, okay. People see him, okay. He is very visible to people, he doesn't eat, but the guy is very healthy, becoming more and more healthy and is fairly fit. So you are seeing the person is not eating, but also you are seeing he is very healthy and active and dynamic. It doesn't make sense to you, okay. The direct perception does not make any sense. To make sense of this, you have to make some postulation. What is that postulation? You say that he must be eating in the night, okay. Then a question might come, then why can't we use inference? You cannot use inference, because we said that in inference, first you should have the invariable concomitants which you should have seen with your senses or organs, or with your knowledge organs of knowledge, okay. In the case of fire, okay, which we propose in a mountain, because there is a smoke, because we have seen direct perception we had in Yoga Kunda that when there is a smoke, there is a fire. But in the case of this Devadatta, we cannot, there is no invariable concomitance of a person not eating and the person is healthy, okay, where we have seen it earlier. There is no examples. There is no examples, prior examples where people are not eating and they are healthy, okay. So Anumana is, so the invariable concomitance is not proved here. So Anumana cannot be used. So only this pramana, that is postulation, should be used, okay. This is the fifth pramana. So far we have seen 5 sources of knowledge: direct perception, inference, comparison, verbal testimony and postulation. And the last source of knowledge is non-cognition. Non-cognition, this is known as Anupalabdhi in Sanskrit. That means cognitions of absence, okay. Suppose the teacher says to a student, go and see in the next classroom whether Ram is there. The student goes to the other classroom and comes back and reports back to the teacher that Ram is not there. How can he see Ram is not there? How can he say that? Because direct perception can see only positive entity. For the matter, even Anumanam and Upamanam, they are all pramanams for positive entity. Even Arthaprati needs positive entity. So, non-cognition or cognitions of absence or Anupalabdhi is the only pramana which can cognize negative entity. But it has got two requirements. What are the requirements? First, the thing which is you cognize its absence, otherwise some other place it should be perceptible. Okay, it should be seen. Whether suppose that if I say make a statement that there is no pot on the table, the pot is not on the table at this juncture, at the point of time in the particular location, otherwise the pot is perceptible. So this is one condition for non-cognition of absence. The second condition is the locus in which it is absent, that should be perceptible. So when I say that there is no pot on the table is perceptible. So these two conditions are required to have cognition of absence. Because of these two conditions, heaven, hell cannot come under this pramana because they are even otherwise non-perceptible. So we have seen 6 pramanas. Okay, these are the sources of knowledge. And I also said that each pramana or the source of knowledge is mutually exclusive. Like eyes cannot do the function of hearing, or nose cannot do the function of seeing. Like that, these pramanas are mutually exclusive, and we should use the appropriate pramana and gain the right knowledge. So we have seen 6 pramanas. To do our transaction, day-to-day transaction in the world, all 6 pramanas are important. Okay, so but the most important, the basic, the fundamental pramana is the pratyaksha pramana. Anumana, comparison, that is inference, comparison, and postulations, everything is based on the direct perception. But what is the speciality of the verbal testimony? The verbal testimony, it deals with adrishtapalam, meaning invisible results. We talk about punya, papa. Somebody has done some punya, that's why he is doing very well in this birth. Somebody might have done some papa, that's why he is going through tough time. We say that. How do we say that? Which source of knowledge deals with it? So, the verbal testimony, that is especially the Purva Bhaga of Veda, that deals with this. Okay, and also the Vedanta, the Uttara Bhaga of the Vedanta, especially the Upanishad, deals with our true nature. How do I know our true nature? Our true nature is Brahman. How do we know that? Because Brahman is not an object of knowledge, and we have seen that to have knowledge, what are the components required? We need the locus of knowledge, we need an instrument, we need object of knowledge to get a knowledge about that. But Brahman being not an object of knowledge, how do you know that? No pramana can help directly. But the Upanishad, that is the verbal testimony, helps to remove the ignorance about ourselves, and by removing the ignorance, our true nature shines forth by itself. I will give an example. Suppose there is a lighted candle covered by a pot. Okay, and the pot is in a dark room. To see the pot, you need light. But once you take the pot out to see the candle, you don't need light because it is self-effulgent, right? So similarly, once the pot is like the ignorance about our true nature is removed by Upanishad, the verbal testimony, our true nature shines forth. I hope you find this posting useful, and in case you need to have any clarification, you feel free to talk to me. Thanks for this opportunity.